Hey guys, so this is Simone Cimiluca-Radzins, CEO of Caligia, and today's business tip of the day for everybody operating in the California cannabis market is we've got less than, I don't even know what today is, like the 25th, less than 5 days to make sure that you have got your, if you have a temporary license that you are, or actually if you have a temporary license, I hope that you already know this. But going forward, if you're applying for a cannabis license in the state of California, you're going to need to know some very important things of just how this works, right? And so the purpose of today's video is to really go over what is considered this transition period requirement, right? So January 1st, 2018, boom, state of California offers amazing licenses and the ability to actually apply for a license. What's that mean for a cannabis operator? It means that a cannabis operator had to go fill out that information. They had local approval, so they had already, applied at a local level to get a license, and then they had to go to the state. Because the state knew that January 1st, by law, they had to issue a few licenses, they said, you know what, we're going to do these temporary licenses. Now, a temporary license it's not as, I guess, let's say, robust as a permanent license. A permanent license, guys, lasts for 1 year and 1 year alone, right? So a permanent license isn't that you are like set. It means like, yes, you have the ability to operate a cannabis commercial business for 1 year. So we can talk about that in probably another video. But the point is, if you're listening to this and you're listening to this before July 1st, 2018, there are definitely a few things that you need to know. First and foremost, the lab testing requirements now have changed, right? So beginning July 1st, 2018, a licensee can only sell cannabis that has been tested and passed all testing requirements, right? And so that means that I'm not sure how many they've licensed out yet, but that means that anybody who has a lab testing license has got to go test the cannabis flower, extract, whatever. And then they're going to have to put a very nice little label that said lab tested on it. Now, lab testing is so important in so many different ways. I think number one is the health, right? Like I did a podcast interview about a year ago where we interviewed some people in Oregon. We don't really know what's in our cannabis. And so lab testing is 100% amazing. A lot of people, though, have not been cultivating cannabis the right way. And there's going to be a lot of, operators that, probably will not pass their lab tests, right? So it's very important to know that if you're anywhere in the supply chain, that if you're buying trim, let's say, from somebody, that you better know that that trim will pass a lab test. Where it gets really sticky is if you're a manufacturer, right? Let's say you're buying distillate, let's say you're buying oil. Well, what happens is that when you concentrate anything, the amount that you're concentrating becomes more concentrated. So if that trim that you were getting didn't maybe show up and, maybe it passed the lab test, you better double check that and do a small batch test on any form of a distillate or concentrate, just to make sure that whatever that full end product is, it actually will pass the test. Because the state's going to be quite, public health is probably the biggest thing that the state's worried about, and everybody who voted no for cannabis legalization. So state testing, the lab testing requirements, obviously those go fully into effect. When you have inventory at a dispensary, you will most likely not see, or you shouldn't, not most likely, you shouldn't see any product that that hasn't passed a lab test, right? So lab testing is probably the number one thing that people have to get ready for. Now, if you're a dispensary owner and you're watching this, you better have a blowout sale, because you're supposed to destroy any inventory that's not lab tested before July 1st, 2018. That's going to hit really hard, your cash flow if you have to destroy this product, and you actually can't destroy it. You have to go call a distributor, and you can find all the distributors on caligia.com that have been licensed at the state. You have to go through a distributor for that, right? So it's just, July 1st is going to be a very big day. So number 2, packaging and labeling requirements. So I think that a lot of times, you know, back in the old model in California, I own a dispensary, let's say. I also own a grow. I can package, I can roll my joints, I can do whatever I want in my dispensary, right? Not anymore. No, in fact, everything has to be pre-packaged, right? And child-proof into the metrics according to the state. And those metrics are a little bit intense by July 1st, 2018. So that means if you're a dispensary owner, that means that really what you cannot be doing is undoing things, pre-packaging them up again at your facility. If somebody comes to audit you and they catch you doing that, I'm sure you would face severe penalties. I'm not exactly sure what those are right now. So the main thing is that you have to get all your inventory now pre-packaged if you're a retailer from the distributor, okay? So distributors are obviously key components in this equation. And let's say that you're a retailer and you better have some good protocols because you better not accept anything that does not meet those packaging requirements, right? I can definitely help you with that. My team is very skilled in understanding the compliance aspect of that. So holler at me if you need any help with that. Lastly, exit packaging. So exit packaging is very interesting. I don't think I have anything to show you of what an exit package looks like, but it's so intense that I could barely open one. I remember I was in Oregon a few years ago and bought a few joints and I couldn't even open it. So, you know, exit packaging is a real deal. I'd suggest, you know, maybe branding your exit packaging so you can help your business become a little bit more, you know, aware in the public. So one thing, I'm going to read this because this is what the state wrote. Exit packaging is not required to be child resistant and can no longer be used to satisfy the child resistant packaging requirements. All cannabis goods must be in child resistant packaging prior to delivery to a retailer. So what's that mean? So that means that if I am a cannabis cultivator, for example, and I decide, and I suggest this for any cannabis cultivator, especially a small and mom pop, like if you want to survive, I suggest doing this for sure. You got to build branded products, right? So let's say you're moving big pounds, right? That's a wholesale thing. But even if you wanted to do pre-rolls or just like branded flower packaging, you need to make sure that that package is 100% child resistant before you even give it to the retailer. You might work out a deal with a distributor who might be able to offer that for you, but you need to make sure about that. Otherwise, that retailer can't even get your stuff. And so likewise, what if you're selling cookies? What if you're selling chocolate? What if you're selling vape pens? Again, what you're going to need to do, make sure that that packaging, guys, is 100% child resistant. Now, these are two very monumental things because if you get caught not having these things, you will have the risk of A, perhaps not even getting that that license, that annual license, or B, having to spend a lot of money that you didn't really need to have to spend by just not following kind of the rules. And that money could be not only with all the branding, all the development, all that kind of stuff. No, that's just with the fines, right? And so those are two of the main huge requirements. There's also a few other things that I do want to make sure that everybody has got their attention on. THC limits for edible cannabis products. Now, you know, California, it has been an amazing market for the patients, right? So we've all loved 250 milligram chocolate bars. We've all loved 25 milligram gummies. Well, in an adult use market, we have restrictions. And starting July 1st, so in 5 days, edible cannabis goods may not exceed 10 milligrams of THC per serving. And that per serving it can't exceed in that package 100 milligrams per package. So what's that mean? It means that if I have a chocolate bar, that total chocolate bar can be 100 milligrams. What it means is that if I need to put on my packaging exactly that those servings are 10 milligrams, right? So again, very easy to get a fine. If I were the BCC, I'd say, oh, look, let me look at this chocolate bar. didn't pass the criteria, right? And so that's a very important thing, is that you need to remember now that there are THC limits to what you can sell to the consumers. What about non-cannabis, excuse me, not non-cannabis, non-edible products? So there's a few other rules for non-edible products, and let me read them to you guys here. So non-edible cannabis products shall not contain more than 1,000 milligrams of THC per package if intended for sale only in the adult use market, right? So this means, you know, concentrates, vapes, flour, all that kind of stuff, right? So again, non-edible cannabis products shall not contain more than 1,000 milligrams of THC. Well, what about medical? You know, we've got an adult use market in California, and we've also got a medical use market. So medical, guys, it's 2,000 milligrams is your limit, okay? So that's a very, very important thing as well. So all of this actually ties very significantly to packaging. Now, if you need help packaging, holler at me. You know, Caligia, we've got a ton of packaging people. I vetted out the best packagers that can give you not only an amazing deal, but understand the regulations to help you. The last thing you actually want to do is spend so much money on, you know, packaging that actually doesn't even work, right? And so I've made sure by vetting all the talent on the site that we've got some amazing people that can help you do that. Okay, what else? So ingredients and the appearance of cannabis products. One thing that's so interesting, and you know, this is not really a discussion for this video, but I'm curious what everybody thinks, is this child requirement, right? And so you need to ensure, obviously, that kids do not find your product appealing. In fact, you need to make sure that when you're marketing, you need to make sure that 76% of the people are above the age of 21, right? So the BCC, the Board of Cannabis Control, has given many guidelines of what you can and cannot include. I don't know the whole list off the top of my head. I suggest reading a blog post on Caligia to find that. I think we did one. And then also the 10-week training course, I go over kind of the packaging requirements as well. But I did want to note a few things. So again, beginning July 1st, 2018, a retailer may only sell cannabis products that meet the requirements set by the California Department of Public Health for ingredients and appearance. Now, you've got to remember that the cannabis regulation is definitely new to the state of California, but regulation on products is definitely not new, right? So really right now, you're just going under, if you're a cannabis operator, the same guidelines that somebody in nutraceuticals would go under, that somebody in food would go under, or you know what I mean? So you really just need to understand who's the governing body to make sure that you are compliant with that. So when you think about how you're supposed to list things on your package, you really need to be compliant with the Department of Public Health for ingredients or appearance. Definitely, I did write a blog post on this, so make sure that you go back and look, because you have got to do a lot of different things. You need to for sure mention that, you know, this is a Schedule I substance. You've got to mention the full list of ingredients, the weight of the ingredients, and all these other compliant issues. Again, guys, it's not that you have to remember how to do this every single day. You need to set up what? A template. You know, that's the biggest thing. When you're thinking about setting up your business for success, it's all setting up templates, right? And so make sure that you subscribe to this channel, that you check out Caligia.com, you find the packagers, you hook up your friends with Caligia.com, because really, guys, how I see it is that all this starts July 1st, 2018. We still have a lot of work, like so much work to do to get all this stuff like finalized. But the best thing we can do is make sure that we're all set up for success. So, you know, by the time 2019 hits, we can roll pretty quick. Again, you've got to be super nimble and super easy to change, meaning don't invest a ton of money in a lot of these things, because the compliance and the regulations will change as we put in more lobbying, all that kind of stuff. You need to make sure that what you're doing every day is compliant. You can assess the risk of being compliant, and perhaps you don't want to be compliant, but you've got to realize that if you're not compliant, you will not get a license. You won't, but the chances of you getting a license in the future are very, very, very small. So if you need any help with the compliance, holler at me. Again, also check out Caligia.com. It's an online network of vetted cannabis talent that really are skilled in accounting, finance, packaging, compliance. Because if I can't help you, I want to make sure that my platform can. All right, guys, again, my name is Simone Cimiluca-Radzins, CEO of Caligia, and please put some comments down in the video. I never know what everybody's liking, but I know people are watching. So if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Please recommend it to a friend, and please let me know what other videos you would like to see. All right, have a great day.